Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Lesley Downs. I'm the relationship coach and couples counsellor. And I absolutely love what I do. I love working with couples who are struggling, who are facing some challenges in their relationship and helping to get them back on track. There are lots of reasons why people come to see me. It might be that they're not communicating, they're not talking, they're not listening to each other. Maybe they're arguing a lot and they need to break the cycle. Sometimes it's about parenting issues, that they have different parenting styles, and that causes conflict in the relationship. Sometimes it's about the physical side of the relationship, and couples come to me and say, oh, we haven't had sex for months or even years. But in my experience, actually, sex isn't the cause of the problem, it's a symptom. And so my job is to help them to kind of really dig deep and to find out what is going on underneath. I kind of think of myself as a bit of a detective. I ask lots of questions. I'll be really curious with people about their answers and sort of, oh, well, tell me more about that. How does that work? How does it feel when that happens? So that actually people get to learn more about themselves. A lot of the work that I do is about self-awareness. And sometimes we go back into kind of the past because I'm looking for patterns all the time, things that are happening now that have happened in the past. So we'll look at their childhood. What were their parents like? Were they affectionate with each other? Or did they get affection as children? What was their family of origin like? The people that influence them, their grandparents, their teachers. Sometimes I'll even do a visualization, take people around their childhood home in their head. We'll go from room to room and who's in those rooms, which is a really powerful kind of reminder of what was going on. But the thing is, we all have 6 basic human needs. And if we don't get those needs met, for ourselves or by our partners, then that can be a source of tension and conflict and frustration. So, as I said, a lot of my work is about creating awareness and understanding, getting people to think about why their needs aren't being met. A couple of days ago, I had a young couple came in for the first time, first appointment, and the wife was complaining about how her husband didn't show her affection, there was no love, there was no cuddles, there was no kisses, that he didn't want to hold her hand as he walked down the road. But during the course of that session, whilst I was working with him and asking lots of questions, it came out that his mum had been a drug addict. And actually, he hadn't experienced all the love and the cuddles and the good and the story reading at night and the good night kisses. He'd never had his hand held walking down the road going to school. So as an adult, it felt really uncomfortable to him, and slightly embarrassing to be walking down the road holding another adult's hand. When he left after that first session with me, he said he felt like a weight had been lifted off his shoulders, just to understand the reasons why he couldn't react to his wife in the way that he wanted to. And not only had that weight been lifted off his shoulders, but his wife sent me a text later on that day saying, we both came out of that meeting feeling like we'd got a whole kind of a future ahead of us that we could work towards. It had given them some hope. So what are these 6 basic human needs? Well, good old-fashioned stuff here. Look, certainty, uncertainty, connection, contribution, significance, and growth. You might be thinking, well, uncertainty, why do we need both? Well, think about you at the moment. Most of you on here are business owners, and I'm sure at one point you were employed and you had the certainty of a salary coming in at the end of the month. But something made you choose uncertainty and become self-employed, where none of us ever know whether we're going to have enough money at the end of the month. That's because maybe you like a little bit of risk, a little bit of adventure, a bit of excitement. But what if you're married to somebody for whose certainty is an absolute, who needs the security of knowing that that paycheck's coming in at the end of the month? then it might cause friction and tension. What if you are a contributor? You like to contribute to your team at work, you like to maybe be involved in the church or your local football team or netball team. Well, that's great. But what if your partner isn't a contributor and therefore they can't understand why you spend so much time organising the church fete? Are you into significance? Do you like to be noticed? Or are you the person who'd rather sit at the back of the room and blend into the wallpaper? We all need to understand about how we get our needs met. And the beauty of when couples work with me is that they start to not only understand themselves and gain self-awareness, but because they're listening to their partner's answers to my questions, they're also starting to understand their partner a little bit more. And that's what it's all about. Sometimes I'll take it to another level and ask the question, what does a new baby need? And each partner has to answer their question. Now, I usually get the answers, I don't know, warmth, security, food, nappy changes, cuddles, smiles, all the stuff that we think of new babies needing. But there's a psychological theory that says that actually the answers that we give to that question are what we need ourselves. And when I say that to clients, they kind of go, oh, yeah, actually, that's true. I do like warmth and I do like cuddles and I like the affection, and maybe I don't need my nappy changing, but I like to be warm and dry and have clean clothes. So all the time, we're kind of looking at those baby needs. What do we want? What do we need? Well, what happens if a baby doesn't get its needs met? Think about it. What do babies do? They cry, they scream, they get angry, they get panicky, a bit anxious. Isn't that what we do as adults as well when we don't get our needs met? We experience all those emotions. So what happens when a baby does get its needs met? Think about it. When the baby is warm and dry and it's getting the cuddles and the smiles, what happens then? They relax, they're happy, they're playful. They can go and explore a little bit and find out a bit more about what's going on around them. But isn't that just the same as what we do as adults? When we start to get our needs met, we can explore, we can relax, we can go out and look at things, and we can play. And that brings me full circle back to what I said at the beginning. Sex isn't the cause of the problem, it's a symptom. And when we start to understand our needs and we can think about it and we can get those needs met, then we can relax and we can start to play and be a bit more adventurous. That's about all I've got time for today. But if you want to ask me any questions, I'll be around later on, or drop me an email, leslie@lesliedowns.co.uk. Thanks for listening.